What's up, guys? Welcome back to the UXGrind. I'm Chris once again. Today is going to be a little bit of a mix. We're going to first and foremost make an amazing coffee. I have been making this coffee every day for the past week, so I want to share that with you guys. It is a cold brew iced coffee mixed with honey and making a honey foam. Check it out. And then after that, I've been practicing on some different hacks for designing. And today we're going to look at a little bit of simplistic design hack and then also how to integrate some interesting colors and tints and shades into your project. So let's go. Let's do this. Let's hop over there and make some coffee. Let's dive in. Cold brew and making it, I feel like some people might find it a bit intimidating because there are many cold brew machines that are on the market today that are quite expensive. Now, you can actually use the tools you have to make your own cold brew. I, for the longest time, was making cold brew in a French press. You can even make it into mason jars and put in cloth on the top when you strain it. Either way works. For today's purposes, I'm just going to give a brief way of making cold brew in a good old French press. And then I'm going to dive in and show you the honey cold brew iced coffee. So let's go. Now, making cold brew shouldn't be rocket science. I'm usually taking just 3 tablespoons and putting it into the French press. And I know there's a ratio out there of how much coffee per how much water you're putting in here. Typically, I'm trying to go maybe 3/4 up. It's been working for me, and try it, but I know if you look online, you definitely can find some ratios. So you can usually just pop the water straight in. And, this is quite easy to make. And I'm putting about 1 liter of water in there. And it's always good to stir it once you're done mixing it, just so all the grinds can get mixed in there with tasty coffee goodness. And what I typically do, I just put this on top and just a little bit pressed down. Let that set for about 12 to 15 hours overnight in your fridge and taste it in the morning and you will be thanking me. It is absolutely amazing. Okay, now the honey cold brew iced coffee. So I worked at Starbucks for way too long, and while working at Starbucks, you have the great joy of experimenting with all the drinks you want. And there was a summer that we came out with some kind of honey syrup, and I begun tasting any kind of drink at Starbucks with honey in it. And iced coffee, well, cold brew mixed with honey, and then mixing it into the whipped cream was kind of really good. So I've been doing that at home because going at Starbucks is quite expensive. So what I have is preloaded honey inside of the coffee cup, and I can probably just go ahead and add my cold brew that I made yesterday actually in here. So pop some cold brew. I think this was brewed like 15, 16 hours. So why not put everything in? Okay, then the next step we have milk and adding some honey into that. And the good old milk froth steamer, not a steamer, it's like the foam maker. It is really useful. So you get in there. Once this thing is kind of frothed up enough, you can kind of tell that it's getting frothy. and perfect, amazing goodness into it. And two ways to do this. You could just dump it all straight into and make a nice little foam on top. Okay, now we're here in Figma, and I want to show an application that is based on booking locations or classrooms for people to study at or use at a university. Glaringly, we already have an issue with the way the content is organized here on the screen. There's too many options, and it has an issue with cognitive overload, which relates itself to Miller's law, where we want to keep the user not having more than 7 options on the screen at one time. There's too many options, and it creates um, kind of that paralysis of not being able to make a decision. So I took this and I organized the content from there now in this method. There's still an issue with it. The content is still needing the user having to scroll fully through here to go through all of the locations, which again is still relating to that cognitive overload. We have too many options. And this in turn relates to this simplistic design. Taking items and grouping them would help the user interface become more simplistic and easier to use. So now shifting over here, I have grouped the different locations into areas. So now here we have the undergrad section, which is highlighted, and I will just take and hide the other options. And now what you have is a lot easier interface for the user to look at by just grouping it. And this is relating again to simplistic design for UI interfaces. So we're able to create an interface that does not have a high cognitive overload, and it's easy for the user to go through and understand. Another thought about going with a simplistic design is colors. Here we have adjusted this into groups, so it's easier for the user to navigate each section so they're not overloaded with choices. Another issue you might see on some interfaces is the overuse of colors. Tints and shades is a great way of adding the brand color to interfaces without overwhelming the user. And I have a different couple options here. So we can take the fill, and this was a tint here. So we have a little bit of a blue tint. And here in this interface, I think the best place to add the brand color would be at this highlight here at the stroke. So we can take that and add the brand color right there underneath here. Or we could add it up here at the top where the fine space here. So now we have a simple way of adding. Thank you guys for checking out today on making one of my personal favorite drinks right now and how to think about making cold brew. And I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of simplistic design hack. Going to dive more into those next week. Let me know in the comments if you like that and how have you tackled brand colors and how to implement them into your interfaces and dealing with long lists of items. With that, I will see you guys next week on the UX Grind. See you later.